Hello, everybody. Don't I look great? Well, let me tell you what. As I was finishing up my shirt order, can't even talk today, I had messed one up, so I take the responsibility. So I was running to Walmart. That's where she bought them. They're all George brand. They're nice shirts. So I'm running down there to grab another one to replace that one because it truly was my fault. So anyhow, I'm in the parking lot. I pull off the main aisle, pointing up so I could go get a parking spot. I'm sitting there in my lane, and I'm waiting for somebody in a big Ford pickup, a blue one. I had no clue how to drive. Make like 80 million attempts to get out of that parking spot backing up, and shouldn't have been in that spot to begin with. So I'm just sitting there waiting, hell, I had the AC on, the music on. Well, next thing I know, I'll hear crunch. And the side of my van lifted up, the driver's side. I looked to my side. It's the same fucking idiot that couldn't get the truck out of the parking spot. Not in, out. Hooked to my van. So, now mind you, I was sitting still. Hooked to my van and pulled me backwards a little bit. So now I can't go forwards, that's obvious, because the back quarter, driver's side, I was looking at it. It was right next to my door. So I'm like, well, fuck, what do I do? So I put it in reverse, backed up, got us unhooked. And she wants to get out and start bitching. Now, we're holding up the whole goddamn parking area right there. And I said, look, let's go up there and park and discuss this where nobody's at. You hit my fucking truck. Yay. I'm going to call the cops. And I'm like, okay, what happened to your truck? I walk over and I look at her truck. There's like a little scratch on the top of the lens on the bed of the truck, which never, that part of the truck never came near me, number one. Number two, what do I got? Hydraulic lifts on my goddamn van? There was no way any part of my van, and it was so minute. I look at my van. She caught me right between where the driver's door and the sliding door meet. So now they both have a dent in them. And I'm looking at my van. She scratched up my rim on my van. And there's a little bit of her blue paint on the side of my front, like bumper quarter paint. You know how they are on a van. I'm calling the sheriff. Look at the damage you did to my truck. And I'm like, so what are you talking about? I said, look at my van. I said, you want to call the sheriff over a scratch? I said, let's go out here. So she comes around, she takes a picture of my driver's license. Or not my driver's license, my tag on my van. And she says, I have stuff in the car. I can't stay here. And I said, well, go ahead and leave, and I'll call them and let them know that you hit me and took off. I said, so then it's kind of like a hit and run. I said, so in the meantime, I'm going right up here at the end of this aisle, and I'm going to park, and we'll wait for the sheriff to get here. I'm like, I said, why are you wasting taxpayers' money for this bullshit? I said, you hit me. I have damage. You have no damage. And you want to call the sheriff. When I said to you, well, that's not good, but that's why they call them accidents. So I went up and I sat there, and I didn't see her. I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes, I guess I sat there. And then here she comes, getting out of her truck with her camera, videotaping that little baby scratch on the top of the lens, which is no way, it was so high up there. I would have had to have hydraulic lifts on my, I'm telling you. So anyhow, she's on the phone, yakety, 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 she this, she that, whatever. So I called the non-emergency and I said, hey, this Miss blah, blah, blah. I said, you probably have her on the other line. I said, well, at Walmart parking lot. I said, I have damage, she doesn't, but she wants you to come out. And I said, you know, she pictured my tag, so I'm going to sit here and wait till you come out. So here I'm sitting, her husband pulls up, and I'm thinking to myself, for a scratch that I didn't even do, it's impossible, I didn't do it. No. He came to pick up their daughter who was in the car, who was probably 17, 18 years old, who would have been mommy's witness, and to get all of the liquor that she bought out of the back seat of the truck. There was a case of beer, there was several bottles, I don't know, maybe champagne, wine, I don't know. And then some other, something hard, I don't know, because I don't drink. And he's loading this in his car. Doesn't bother to look at anything. And leaves. Well, now that explained why she acted like such a fucking maniac. Apparently she's a drinker. And that's probably why she stood out in the heat, because she just spent all her fucking money on all that alcohol, so she couldn't afford to run the gas in her truck to stay cool in the air conditioning. So anyhow, it was quite a while, you know. I didn't care. I was going to Walmart to pick up the shirt, and I wasn't in any hurry. I needed a break, so I'm sitting there in the air conditioning, you know, chit-chatting, messaging my husband. And, she's dialing that phone, getting everybody on that phone to listen to this. This woman hit my truck, and whatever, you know. So here comes the sheriff. Nice young fella. And he asked me, he says, what happened? I said, I'm at the end right here. I'm at the end coming this way. I'm sitting straight. I said, she had a hell of a time getting out of the parking spot in that big truck, which the spot wasn't big enough to begin with. I said, got herself in a mess. I said, so I'm sitting patiently waiting for her to get out of this spot so I can go find a spot. I said, and here she come cattywampus sight. I said, next thing I know, she's got a hold of my van and she's pulling me backwards. So, you know, I already handed in my driver's license, my insurance card. They didn't ask me for my registration. But I knew the kid. One of John's little escapades with a 57 Thunderbird in a parking lot. He was the officer when I got there. So he knew for an old woman I'm pretty cool. Anyhow. And I said, this is what it is, you know. I said, I told her, let's exchange information. I have insurance. It'll cover it. It'll fix it. I said, I don't know what her problem is. She didn't need to call and bother you. So he says, all right, hang on. He says, let me go over here and see what she's got to say. And of course, she was parked. There was one parking space between us, so I could hear everything. And he said, would you like to show me the damage? He said, where? So she points to the scratch up high, tall, almost taller than I am. And he said, you called me out here for that? He said, are you serious? He said, what about what you did to her van? Well, look, she did. He said, and he just stood there, confused as I was. And he said, give me a minute. And he come back over to me. He says, is she kidding? And I said, yeah. I said, she's trying to blame that scratch that's way up high on me. He said, you didn't do that. I said, I know. I said, look what she did to me. And he said, you want me to make an accident report? He said, because you're not at fault, she is. He says, quite obvious. He said, because when I was talking to her, she told me she was cattywampus in the lane and that you were straight. He said, so she told me right there exactly what you said. And I said, here's the thing, it's an accident. I said, I'm not that person. I said, I'm pissed off right now because I've sat here for the last hour because she thought that fucking scratch was so important. I said that I had nothing to do with. I said, I'm the one that should have been out there jumping up and down and screaming and yelling like a maniac. And I said, it was an accident. I said, my van's older. It don't look horrible. I'll drive it till I drive it. I said, what's the big deal? And he says, I'll make an accident report. I said, no. He says, well, hold on a minute. Let me just, swap each other's information. He says, I have to because she asked for it. I said, that's fine. I said, because let her turn it into my insurance, and when they call me, I'm going to tell them what happened. I'll take pictures, and if I need to, can I use your professional opinion? He said, absolutely. He said, I'd be embarrassed to call my insurance company for something like that. So I would too. And he says, here's your license and everything. He says, here's her information. And I said, can I go in the store and shop? He says, go. He says, you didn't do anything wrong. He says, you're good to go. So she called him back over there. I don't know. She was pissed off because I didn't get a ticket, or I don't know what she was up to. But you know what? Number one, in a parking lot like that down here, you're on your own. Yeah, they'll make a report, but it's no fault. Shit happens, Am I happy that my door? No, because now my door that automatically slides by itself, now I gotta help it because she messed up the things the eye things that connect, to open and close the door and make sure you don't smash anybody's head in it, kind of thing. Now I can't do that either. But I'm not jumping up and down. Yeah. I waited, took care of it. I got my shopping done. Came home. Those shirts are done. They're done. And, this is the last day of the month. That damn Murphy better get the hell out of my house. I ain't never seen a month like this in my life. Actually, it's been the last 2 months. Yeah. last 2 months. It's been horrible. Well, the year didn't start out so good either. You know, my sister passing and my girl's daddy dying, and but I'm still here. So I have to keep going, and I will. But, you know, don't mind the bags under. I am so emotionally exhausted. This is why I want to sell my house. I'll go live in the woods. Yeah. And then one day a month, have to go out. And my hair is a mess. To grocery shop. And the rest of the time, tell my husband on his way home from work, hey, I need milk or bread. Can you bring it home? Can you grab a bag of dog food en route? Yeah. I can't wait until that happens. Just so much to do here. So much stuff. All this stuff. Oh. I walked out in our outside shed thing that we have out there. It's too pretty to call it a shed, but it's, you know, I don't know, 12 by whatever it is, I don't know. Oh, the stuff that's out there. Yeah. But that's okay, baby steps. Baby steps. Slowly, you know, get things done. So anyhow, I don't think there was anything else shitty today other than that one. I'm like, you know what more could happen? I need to get off of here and eat. I ate an ice cream. I don't know what they're called. Shortcake, chocolate shortcake, I think, ice cream. Yeah, that's a real good diet. So I need to eat something. And I just wanted to fill you in on that bullshit. Jumping up and down, it was my fault. You could clearly see the direction of impact. Yeah. What a mess. Anyhow, guys, I don't know if I'll be back. I might be back in the morning on my drive to the market. I'll try to be back then. I don't know. It depends on how much of a hectic morning it is. This week went by so fast. It's Friday, and here I'm thinking it's like Tuesday, you know? I'm like, Jesus, gosh. So anyhow, y'all, enjoy the rest of your night. Put your feet up. Do something calming, something you enjoy. End your night on a peaceful note. If you have somebody around, tell them you love them. If not, tell your doggy, your kitty, whatever. Just keep going. We'll do this together. Now I can just come see what the crazy nut woman's doing or what I'm not doing. Some days it's pretty boring, so. But it's life, you know. It's what we all have to do. And we can still do it when we get old, so don't let anybody tell you we can't. All right, y'all. Have a beautiful night. Sleep well. I hope you all are doing well, and we'll talk in the morning. All right. Thanks. Good night.